The kitchen clock ticked louder than it ever had before, as if it wanted to announce the death of something sacred. Amanda stood across from me, pale, her lips trembling. When the words came, they didn't sound like hers. They sounded like a verdict. I cheated on you, Travis. Twice. With Brandon. Brandon, her boss. The man whose hand I shook at company dinners, the man I once thanked for looking out for my wife. My jaw locked. My mind spun, searching for another meaning, some mistake in translation. But her eyes told me there was no mistake. I gripped the edge of the table so tightly my knuckles whitened. 2 years, I forced out, my voice unrecognizable. She nodded once. That tiny gesture sliced deeper than any scream. I walked past her without a word, the brush of my shoulder against hers colder than any curse I could have thrown. In the bedroom, the framed photo from our wedding hung crooked, mocking me. Amanda in ivory lace, her smile radiant. Me beside her, beaming like I'd won the world. With a roar, I ripped the frame off the wall, glass splintering across the hardwood. 1,000 shards scattered, each one reflecting my face. Broken, jagged, a stranger in his own home. That night, I didn't sleep. I lay flat on the mattress, every creak of the house amplified, every breath in my lungs like sandpaper. The bed that had once been warm now felt like a slab of stone. From down the hall, faint, muffled sobs seeped through the walls. Amanda had chosen the guest room. I let her cry there. She built that ocean herself. Morning arrived like an unwanted guest. I brushed my teeth, made coffee, poured cereal, all in silence. She didn't come out until she heard the front door shut behind me. When I returned after work, dinner waited on the table, steam rising from a golden-crusted chicken pot pie, my favorite. But Amanda was gone again, tucked away in the guest room, her presence reduced to food I couldn't bring myself to eat. On the third day, she finally spoke. "Can we talk?" Her voice cracked, raw. We sat across from each other in the living room. The space between us felt like a canyon. She twisted her fingers until the knuckles blanched. "I ended it," she whispered. "Not because he left me. Not because I got caught. I ended it because I realized I couldn't live without you." I let out a bitter laugh. "You say you ended it for me, but you carried the lie for months. Do you understand what that means? Every morning I woke up in a marriage that was already dead, and I didn't even know it." Tears slid down her cheeks. I was a coward. Every day I told myself I would confess. Every night I lost my nerve. But the guilt was crushing me. That's why I'm here now. I know I destroyed us, but please don't shut me out completely. Let me try to make this right. Her words ricocheted in my chest. Part of me wanted to rage, to throw every cruel question I'd been choking on. Wasn't my love enough? Didn't our vows mean anything? But when I opened my mouth, what came out was softer, weaker, and it terrified me more than anger ever could. I don't know if I can forgive you, but I don't know how to stop loving you either. Amanda's lips quivered. She leaned forward, her voice a plea. "Then let me wait. I'll do whatever you need. Counseling, honesty, transparency, anything. If you want my phone, my email, my passwords, you can have them all. Just don't give up on us yet." That night, alone in the dark, I pulled out our wedding photos on my laptop. There we were. Amanda glowing in her dress, her eyes lit with joy. Me, smiling like I'd discovered a secret treasure. I remembered the vows spoken in that small church in Des Moines, promises to love, honor, and protect. Now those vows felt like paper left out in the rain, smeared, fragile, barely holding together. The days blurred. Amanda left me notes everywhere. Slipped into my work bag. I love you. Taped to the bathroom mirror. I'm sorry. Folded on my nightstand. I'll never give up on us. Each scrap of paper was both a tender plea and a blade twisting deeper. One Saturday, I came home to find her kneeling on the floor, boxes stacked around her. Clothes, purses, old shoes piled high. She looked up, eyes rimmed red. I thought maybe a fresh start, she murmured. Then she held out her phone with shaking hands. Go through it, please. There's nothing left. His number, his accounts, they're gone. You can see for yourself. I took it, scrolling through her messages. Grocery lists, notes from her sister, work chats. Nothing suspicious. No Brandon. But proof on a screen meant nothing to me. Trust isn't built on what you can see. It's built on what you believe. And she had already burned that bridge. That night, for the first time, I spoke the thought that had been clawing at me since her confession. My voice was ragged, almost unrecognizable. I don't know who you are anymore. The woman who laughed with me on the couch, who whispered she loved me in the dark, who held my hand at the farmer's market. Was she real? Or was she just a mask for the woman who was lying to me all along? Amanda reached across the space between us, but stopped halfway, her hand falling uselessly into her lap. Her eyes glistened. She was real. I was real. And I still am. I betrayed you, but I never stopped loving you. I can't ask you to believe me today, but I hope one day you will. Her words should have been a balm. Instead, they seared. Because nothing poisons faster than love and betrayal spoken in the same breath. The nights after Amanda's confession blended into each other, sleepless and jagged. I would lie on my back staring at the ceiling while the shadows of passing cars crawled across the walls. Sometimes I caught the faint creak of the guest room door down the hall, her muffled sobs leaking through. I never moved toward them. My body refused. My heart wouldn't let me. Days passed in mechanical rhythm. I showered, drove to work, returned home, repeated. My colleagues asked if I was okay. I lied and said I was just tired. The truth sat like a stone in my stomach. Every glance at my phone, every pause in conversation, I imagined them. Their stolen moments, their whispered laughter. It played like a film reel I couldn't stop. Amanda tried. God, she tried. Each evening when I returned, I found some small gesture waiting. Dinner set out, my favorite beer chilling in the fridge, the laundry folded neatly on the couch. But she never hovered. She retreated to the guest room, leaving only the evidence of her efforts behind, as if she were haunting her own house. After 2 weeks of this limbo, she asked me to meet her in the living room. I sat at one end of the couch, she at the other, the space between us as wide as an ocean. Her eyes were swollen, rimmed red, but her voice was steady. I can't undo what I did, she said, but I can choose what I do now. I want us to see a counselor. If you walk away after that, I'll understand. But give me the chance to fight for us. I clenched my jaw. Fight? Amanda, you already surrendered the day you let him touch you. She flinched as if struck, but she didn't back down. I know. And I'll carry that shame forever. But I need you to know, I didn't stay with him. I came back, to you. The words scraped against my chest. They sounded like a plea, but all I heard was a confession that my life had been second choice. Still, I agreed to counseling. Not out of hope, but out of exhaustion. I needed someone else to witness the wreckage, to tell me whether anything could be salvaged. The first session was brutal. Amanda sat across from me, hands clasped so tightly they turned white. When the therapist asked her to explain, she unraveled everything. The late nights at the office, the business trips that weren't, the hotel rooms where she'd hidden from the life we shared. She described sneaking away to call me, pretending to be in a lobby while he lay in bed behind her. Each detail cut like barbed wire. When it was my turn, I spilled the fury I'd been choking on. The humiliation, the rage, the way she'd made me feel like less than a man. My voice shook, but I didn't stop. Amanda didn't interrupt. She just wept silently, tears slipping down her cheeks, nodding at every accusation. The therapist told us the truth I already knew. Trust wouldn't return overnight. That forgiveness and forgetting were not the same thing. That rebuilding could take years, and sometimes it never worked at all. Walking out of that office, I felt heavier than when I'd gone in. I had hoped for clarity, but all I carried was confirmation of how broken we were. At home, Amanda placed her hand on my arm. I froze. She whispered, "Thank you for giving me a chance. I won't waste it." But inside, doubt festered. Was she grateful because she loved me, or because she was afraid of losing the comfort of our life together? The following weeks blurred into a strange routine. Counseling once a week. Small gestures from her, notes slipped into my jacket pocket, lunches packed, soft words left on sticky notes by the mirror. Some nights she lingered at the doorway of our bedroom, as if waiting for permission to return. I never gave it. The sight of her in our bed made my chest tighten until breathing felt impossible. One evening I found her folding laundry at the kitchen table. She looked up, eyes hopeful. "Do you think you'll ever trust me again?" The question hung heavy. I swallowed hard. I don't know. Trust doesn't grow back the way it was. Once it's broken, it's never the same. Her lips trembled, but she nodded. "Then I'll learn to live with that. As long as you're still here, I'll keep trying." Her determination was almost painful to watch. She was suddenly the wife I had begged for years ago. Attentive, affectionate, desperate to make me feel valued. And that truth cut deeper than betrayal itself. Why had it taken losing everything for her to finally see me? The answer never came. That night, I walked into the bedroom and found one of her old blouses folded in the back of a drawer. I remembered it vividly. She'd worn it on nights she claimed she was working late. My hands shook as I held it, the fabric suddenly toxic in my grip. Amanda entered the room, her face draining of color when she saw. "I should have thrown that away," she whispered. I dropped it onto the bed like a dead thing. "Why didn't you?" She stepped closer, tears brimming. Because I wanted the reminder to never go back to that life. I stared at her, caught between belief and suspicion. Every word could be a confession or another lie. That was the prison of betrayal. You never knew which was which. That night I slept on the couch. The hum of the refrigerator filled the silence, and for the first time in weeks, I realized I wasn't angry anymore. I was hollow. And sometimes emptiness is worse than rage. The weeks after counseling were like walking a tightrope. Every day Amanda tried to prove herself. She cooked, cleaned, left notes with little hearts. She offered passwords, calendars, location sharing. Her phone sat face up on the counter like a sacrifice, but none of it fixed the silence between us. Trust isn't a code you type in. It's a door that, once broken, never locks the same way again. One evening, she suggested dinner out. "At our place," she said carefully, as if the words might shatter. "The restaurant where we had celebrated anniversaries, where I once proposed." I went, but the magic was gone. She smiled. told jokes, reached across the table to touch my hand. I let her fingers brush mine, but my eyes studied her face like a map of lies. On the way home, she whispered, "Do you think we can ever be happy again?" I stared at the windshield, the blur of streetlights. Happy? Maybe. But not the way it was. That version of us is dead. Her shoulders slumped. She didn't argue. For once, she accepted the truth. The next day at counseling, she broke down completely. "I don't expect him to forgive me," she told the therapist. "I just want him to see that I'm not the same person who betrayed him. I want him to believe I can change." I sat rigid in my chair. But how do I know? You lied for 2 years. Every word now feels like a trick. She turned to me, eyes raw. "Then watch me, every day. Judge me by my actions, not my promises." That night, I came home to find the house glowing with candlelight. Dinner again. Steak, mashed potatoes, a bottle of wine. She stood in the kitchen, wearing a dress I hadn't seen in years. Blonde hair curled, eyes shimmering with hope. I froze in the doorway. For a moment, I almost saw the woman I fell in love with. Almost. She smiled nervously. "I thought maybe we could start over." The words slammed into me. Start over. As if vows could be remade, scars erased. I sat at the table, ate in silence. The food was perfect, but everything tasted of ashes. Later that night, she slipped into the bedroom without asking. She lay down on her side of the bed, stiff, waiting for me to reject her. My chest tightened, but I said nothing. The ceiling fan hummed. Slowly, I felt her hand inch toward mine, under the blanket. I didn't move away. For the first time since the confession, we fell asleep in the same bed. Morning was worse. I woke to see her face on the pillow, peaceful, almost innocent. Rage surged. How could she look so serene after ripping me apart? I jumped up, leaving her startled and speechless. At work that day, I couldn't focus. I stared at my computer screen, words blurring. A coworker asked if I was okay. I nearly told him everything but stopped. Shame clamped my throat shut. How could I admit my wife had chosen another man over me, and I still hadn't left? That night, Amanda tried again. "Let's go for a walk," she said. We wandered through our neighborhood, the air cool, stars hidden behind clouds. She slipped her arm into mine. I stiffened, but didn't pull away. "I know you don't believe me yet," she said softly. "But I'm here, every day. I'm not running anymore." Her words landed heavy. Maybe she meant them. Maybe she didn't. That was the hell of betrayal. You couldn't tell the difference. Weeks turned into a fragile rhythm. Some nights we shared dinner. Some nights I slept on the couch. Some mornings she caught my eye, and for a second, we smiled like old times. Then the memory of Brandon would crash back, and the smile died. One evening, I found her in the backyard, staring at the fading sunset. "Travis," she said quietly, "do you hate me?" I swallowed hard. "I hate what you did, but I don't know if I can ever separate that from you." Her face crumpled, but she nodded. "Then let me carry it, all of it. I'll take the hate if it means I can stay by your side." Her words should have softened me. Instead, they burned, because staying meant living with ghosts, and leaving meant tearing my life apart. That night, I packed a bag again. Clothes thrown in, shoes shoved on top. I carried it to the car, sat behind the wheel, engine humming. 3 blocks later, I stopped. My hands shook. My chest hurt. I saw her face in my mind, the brokenness, the fear. I turned the car around. She was waiting by the window when I pulled into the driveway. When I stepped inside, her eyes darted to the bag in my hand. She broke. Please, she begged, voice shredded. Don't leave me, not like this. I dropped the bag by the door. I don't know why I came back, I admitted. Maybe because I'm weak, maybe because I still love you. I don't know. She took a step toward me, but I raised my hand. Not yet. Don't touch me. Her tears fell freely. Then let me keep trying, she whispered. Even if it takes the rest of my life. That night, I sat outside on the porch, wine sharp against my skin. And for the first time, I realized I wasn't deciding between love and hate. I was deciding whether the wreckage of what we had was worth rebuilding, or if it was time to let it burn. The weeks dragged on, each one pulling me deeper into a place I barely recognized. Amanda's determination to prove herself never slowed. Every morning, there was coffee waiting. Every evening, a meal on the table. Her eyes tracked me constantly, searching for signs of thaw, for cracks in the ice. Sometimes I let her see one. A half smile when she made a joke. A nod when she touched my arm. Those tiny gestures made her glow with hope. But inside me, hope felt like rust. It ate away at whatever structure was left, fragile and corroded. Counseling continued, each session a battlefield. The therapist asked us to speak openly, but openness had turned to a weapon. Amanda poured out apologies until her voice shook. I answered with questions she could never truly satisfy. Where were you on that night? What lies did you tell? What was I doing at home while you were with him? Every answer was a new wound, reopening the same scar. One night she asked me to sit with her in the bedroom, the very space that had felt desecrated by her confession. She patted the mattress beside her like it was holy ground she wanted me to reclaim. I sat stiff, my hands locked together. Do you want me here or not? She asked quietly. If you want me gone, say it. I'll pack my bags and disappear. The words cut me because for a moment, I wanted to say yes. To watch her walk out the door with her suitcase, to slam it shut behind her. But my chest seized, and no sound came out. Finally, I whispered, I don't know what I want. Her tears slipped silently down, but she nodded. That was worse than rage. Rage I could fight, acceptance I couldn't. Days blurred, the line between survival and living erased. At work, I functioned like a machine. At home, I existed in shadows. Amanda filled the house with little signs of devotion. Flowers in a vase, new sheets on the bed, soft music playing at dinner. It felt like she was staging our life, like an actress rehearsing a role, waiting for me to applaud. One Saturday afternoon, I found her sitting on the porch swing, knees tucked to her chest. She didn't notice me at first, her face turned toward the sky. I don't expect him to ever forgive me, she murmured aloud, not knowing I was there. But I pray he'll see that I'm not the same woman anymore. Her voice cracked on the last word. I stepped back into the house without letting her see me. That confession, whispered into the wind, left me more shaken than all her direct pleas. Because it sounded true, and truth scared me more than lies. A week later, she suggested renewing our vows. The idea hit me like a slap. You want me to stand before God and pretend the first ones weren't broken? Her lips trembled. Not pretend. Replace. With ones I'll mean this time. I stared at her, unable to process the audacity. Vows meant nothing if the first were trampled. But part of me, the part still clinging to what we once were, felt a flicker at the thought of starting again. That flicker terrified me. Because if I agreed, it meant I was still tied to her. Still chained to the woman who had cut me down. The following night, I packed a bag again. John's, shirts, toothbrush shoved into a side pocket. My heart pounded as I zipped it shut. Amanda appeared at the doorway, her face pale, eyes wide. "Where are you going?" she asked. "I don't know," I muttered. Her voice rose, panic sharp. "Travis, please, don't walk out without saying where. Don't leave me like this." I gripped the handle of the bag until my hand ached. For a moment, I saw myself leaving, driving into the night, never turning back. But my legs wouldn't move. I dropped the bag to the floor. The sound echoed through the room like a gunshot. Amanda collapsed onto the bed, sobbing into her hands. "I'll keep trying," she gasped between cries, "even if it kills me, even if you never forgive me." I stood in the doorway, feeling nothing and everything at once. Love, hate, pity, rage, all tangled in a knot I couldn't undo. Later that night, I sat on the porch again, the air thick with summer heat. My head dropped into my hands. The street was empty, quiet, but inside my chest, a war raged louder than ever. I thought about Brandon, about his smug grin, about his hand on my wife's skin. The image burned. I wanted to drive to his office, to drag him out by the collar, to show him the damage he left behind. But what good would it do? He wasn't the one I shared a home with, a life with. He wasn't the one I still, against all reason, loved. When I finally dragged myself back inside, Amanda was asleep in our bed, curled on her side, her face streaked with dried tears. For the first time in months, she looked peaceful, almost innocent. My chest ached at the sight. Innocence lost can never be reclaimed. But in that moment, I wondered if peace could. The house had grown quieter, but not in a comforting way. It was the silence of a battlefield after the smoke clears, when you can't tell who has won and who has lost. Amanda moved around me like a shadow, present, yet afraid to draw too close. One evening, I came home to find her sitting at the kitchen table with a notebook. She had filled pages with lists. At the top of one, things I will do better. At the top of another, reasons to stay. She pushed the notebook toward me as if it were evidence in her defense. "I don't expect you to read it now," she said softly. "But I need you to know I'm not wasting a single day. Every breath I take is for us." The desperation in her eyes twisted something inside me. I didn't open the notebook. I couldn't. I left it on the table and walked upstairs, the weight of it following me. That night, I dreamed of Brandon. Not his face, his absence. A faceless shadow leaning across the table toward Amanda, whispering, laughing, touching her hand. I woke drenched in sweat, fists clenched. Amanda stirred beside me, reaching instinctively for me, but I rolled away. The bed felt like a stage, and I refused to play my part. In therapy, the counselor asked me to describe what I wanted. My throat tightened. "I want my life back," I said. "I want the version of her that never cheated, never lied. I want to believe again." Amanda's tears spilled. "I can't erase the past," she whispered, "but I can be better than I was. Please let me show you." The counselor nodded slowly. "Rebuilding isn't about erasing. It's about choosing every day. Both of you." Her words sat with me for days. Could I choose Amanda again? Could I wake up every morning and look at her without seeing betrayal etched across her skin? One weekend, she suggested we visit her parents. "They love you," she said. "Being with family might help remind us who we are." I agreed, reluctantly. Her parents welcomed me warmly, praising our strength, admiring that we were fighting for our marriage. Their words stung like salt in a wound. Amanda smiled, holding my hand tightly under the table as if to prove their point. I smiled back, but inside I was screaming. Driving home, I broke. You paraded me in front of them like everything's fine. It's not. It will never be fine. Her grip tightened on the steering wheel, knuckles pale. I just wanted to believe, for one night, that we weren't broken. I stared out the window, the highway lights blurring. Belief doesn't change reality. Back home, I sat on the porch long after midnight, the air heavy with humidity. Amanda joined me quietly, sitting a few feet away. We didn't speak for a long time. Finally, she whispered, "Do you want me to leave?" The question hit me harder than I expected. Did I? Part of me screamed yes. Freedom, escape, a clean slate. But another part clung desperately to the years we had shared, to the laughter, the memories, the life we had built brick by fragile brick. I don't know, I admitted. She nodded slowly, tears glistening in the porch light. Then I'll stay. Until you do know. And even if that answer breaks me, I'll accept it. Her words haunted me, because they sounded final, like the terms of a sentence being handed down. Over the next weeks, Amanda's efforts only grew more intense. She planned date nights, cooked elaborate meals, filled the house with flowers. Each gesture felt like a plea. See me, choose me, forgive me. But forgiveness is not born from grand gestures. It comes, if at all, in the quiet spaces where trust once lived. One night, I found her in the living room, scrolling through old photos on her phone. She looked up when I entered, her eyes shimmering. "We were happy," she whispered. "Look at us. Can't we find that again?" I took the phone, staring at the image of us on a beach, sunlit and smiling. It felt like a different life, belonging to different people. I handed the phone back. That couple doesn't exist anymore. Amanda's face crumpled, but she didn't argue. She simply set the phone down and whispered, "Then help me become someone new for you." That night, I couldn't sleep. I walked through the house, each room a museum of our life together. The kitchen where we laughed over burnt pancakes. The hallway where we danced after good news. The bedroom where she whispered promises now turned to ash. Every memory was poisoned, but they were mine. Ours. At dawn, I stood by the window watching the sky lighten. Amanda stirred in the guest room, her silhouette faint through the crack of the door. I realized I was standing at a crossroads. Leave and sever the rope once and for all, or stay and bleed slowly every day until maybe, just maybe, healing began. Neither path looked like salvation. Both looked like loss. And yet, for reasons I couldn't explain, I found myself whispering into the quiet house. Not today. I won't leave today. The words hung there, fragile, as though spoken by someone else. Amanda would never hear them. But I did. And for now, that was enough to keep me standing in the ruins a little longer. The day came quietly, without warning, like a storm that gathers behind the horizon until it suddenly breaks. Amanda had made breakfast, set the table, even lit a candle though it was morning. I sat down, staring at the eggs and toast untouched. She watched me with those wide, desperate eyes that had followed me for months. "Travis," she whispered, "I can't keep living like this, waiting for you to decide. Tell me what you want. Do you want me, or do you want me gone?" Her voice trembled, but her gaze was steady. For the first time, she wasn't begging. She was demanding truth. I pushed my plate away, my hands shaking. "What I want," the words caught in my throat. "I want the life we had, the one you burned down, and I know I can't have it back." Amanda's face crumpled. Tears slid down, but she didn't look away. Then what does that mean? I stood, pacing the kitchen, my chest tight. It means every day I wake up, and I hate you. And every night I close my eyes, and I still love you. It means I am chained to the fire you lit, and I don't know how to step out without turning to ash. She rose slowly, crossing the room. For a moment, I thought she would collapse into me, clutch me like she had so many nights before. But she stopped a foot away, her hands trembling at her sides. I know I don't deserve you, but if you choose to leave, I'll understand. If you choose to stay, I'll fight for you until my last breath. Just don't leave me in between. The silence that followed was suffocating. My heart thundered. I thought of all the nights I had sat alone on the porch, weighing two lives. One without her, clean but empty, and one with her, poisoned but familiar. I thought of Brandon, faceless in my nightmares, the shadow that had haunted every embrace since her confession. And I thought of Amanda, the woman who laughed with me in grocery aisles, who kissed my forehead when I was sick, who betrayed me and yet somehow was still the only person I couldn't stop loving. Finally, I sank into the chair, my voice barely audible. I can't forgive you. Not yet. Maybe not ever. But I can't walk away either. Not today. Amanda covered her mouth with her hands, tears streaming, shoulders shaking. Then I'll take not today, she whispered. And tomorrow and the day after. As long as you give me another chance, I'll keep proving myself. Her words wrapped around me like a plea, but also like a chain. I didn't know if I had chosen strength or weakness by staying. All I knew was that the house didn't feel as empty as it had before. That night, we lay in the same bed again. I didn't touch her, and she didn't reach for me. But her breathing beside me was steady. And for the first time in months, I didn't feel completely alone. Staring into the dark, I realized something brutal and liberating. Love and betrayal can live in the same heart. They war against each other, tearing at the seams, but neither destroys the other completely. That's the cruel truth of being human. I don't know if Amanda and I will survive this. I don't know if trust can ever be resurrected from the grave she dug. But I know I'm still here, and so is she. And for now, that's enough. And maybe one day, when the wounds have scarred over and the echoes of lies have faded, I'll be able to answer the question she keeps asking. Do I still want her? But until then, I'm trapped in this in-between, loving her, hating her, breathing beside her, and I can't help but wonder, would anyone else have chosen the same?